1. We've got a real treat for you. A 1983 Cadillac Seville that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This beauty is priced at just $6,450, and let me tell you, it's a deal you don't want to miss. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A car from the 80s? Is it really worth it? Well, let me give you the lowdown. This Cadillac Seville is in excellent running condition, and it drives like a dream. The seller has been upfront about the car's history, mentioning that it's had 3 previous owners and has undergone some paint work. But hey, that just adds to its character, right? Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 4.1 V8 engine that purrs like a kitten, and with only 80,000 miles on the odometer, this car has plenty of life left in it. The seller has even gone the extra mile and replaced the tires, alternator, belts, and hoses, so you can trust that this Cadillac has been well maintained. One of the coolest features of this Seville is the upgraded Bluetooth stereo mounted in the glove box. Imagine cruising down the highway, blasting your favorite tunes, and feeling like you're in a classic movie scene. It's the little touches like this that make this car truly special. The seller also mentions that the air conditioning has been converted to R134, so you can stay cool and comfortable even on the hottest of days. And with a clean Ohio private title, you can have peace of mind knowing that this car is legit. Now, I'll be honest with you, the seller does mention that they may be open to trades, but with a price tag of just $6,250, or best offer, I'd say this Cadillac Seville is a steal. It's a chance to own a piece of automotive history, and to experience the luxury and style that only a classic Cadillac can provide. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to Craigslist and check out this 1983 Cadillac Seville for yourself. Who knows? It might just be the car of your dreams. 2. We're diving into the world of classic American muscle with this 1984 Pontiac Trans Am that's currently up for sale on Craigslist. With an asking price of $6,500, this iconic ride is sure to turn heads and get your heart racing. Now let's talk about the condition of this Trans Am. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, which is always a positive sign. However, it's important to keep in mind that this is a classic car, and with that comes some expected wear and tear. The odometer reads 85,154 miles, which is relatively low for a vehicle of this age, but it's still something to consider. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 350 engine that's been enhanced with some serious performance upgrades. The seller mentions an Edelbrock 1406 carburetor and an Edelbrock performance intake, which means this Trans Am is likely to have some extra kick when you put your foot down. It's the kind of setup that's sure to put a smile on your face every time you take it out for a spin. One of the standout features of this Trans Am is the dual electric fans from an '87 GTA. This is a great upgrade that helps keep the engine running cool, even on those hot summer days. The seller does mention that the AC is all there but needs a recharge, so keep that in mind if you're someone who likes to stay cool while cruising. Another great feature of this Trans Am is the power windows and locks. It's a small touch, but it's one that makes a big difference in terms of convenience and comfort. The headlights also go up and down without any issues, which is a testament to the overall quality and reliability of this classic ride. Now, I do want to be upfront and honest with you. While the seller has listed this Trans Am as being in good condition, it's always a good idea to go check it out in person and give it a thorough inspection before making a purchase. Look for any signs of rust, damage, or wear and tear that may not be immediately apparent from the photos. Overall, though, this 1984 Pontiac Trans Am seems like a solid choice for anyone who loves classic American muscle cars. With its powerful engine, performance upgrades, and iconic styling, it's the kind of ride that's sure to turn heads and get your heart racing. And at an asking price of $6,500, it's a relatively affordable way to get behind the wheel of a true classic. 3. We've got a real treat for you. A 1977 Oldsmobile Toronado that's been in the same family since new. This classic beauty is up for sale on Craigslist for just $6,000, and let me tell you, it's a deal that's hard to beat. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Toronado. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, which is always a positive sign. With only 82,600 miles on the odometer, this car has been well maintained and cared for over the years. It's clear that the family who owned it took pride in keeping it in top shape. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's sure to provide plenty of get up and go. The Toronado was known for its smooth ride and effortless acceleration, and this one is no exception. The seller mentions that it runs great, which is a testament to the quality and reliability of these classic Oldsmobiles. One of the standout features of the Toronado is its unique front-wheel drive layout. This was a groundbreaking design when it was first introduced, and it helped to set the Toronado apart from other luxury cars of the era. It's a setup that provides excellent traction and handling, even in less than ideal driving conditions. The black paint on this Toronado is a classic choice that never goes out of style. It's the kind of color that looks great in any setting, whether you're cruising down the highway or pulling up to a fancy event. The seller doesn't mention anything about the condition of the paint, so it's always a good idea to give it a close inspection in person to look for any chips, scratches, or fading. Inside, the Toronado is a spacious and comfortable sedan that's perfect for long trips or daily driving. The seller doesn't provide any details about the interior, so be sure to take a closer look and see if there are any signs of wear or damage. However, given the overall condition of the car, it's likely that the interior has been well maintained as well. Now, I do want to mention one important detail about this sale. The seller is only accepting cashier's checks as payment, so be sure to keep that in mind if you're interested in making an offer. It's always a good idea to be cautious when dealing with large sums of money, so take the necessary precautions to ensure a safe and secure transaction. Overall, this 1977 Oldsmobile Toronado seems like a fantastic opportunity to own a piece of classic American automotive history. With its powerful engine, unique front-wheel drive layout, and well-maintained condition, it's the kind of car that's sure to turn heads and provide plenty of driving enjoyment for years to come. And at just $6,000, it's a deal that's hard to beat. 4. We've got a real gem for you. A 1966 Chevrolet Corvair that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic convertible is priced at $250, and let me tell you, it's a car that's sure to turn heads and get people talking. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Corvair. The seller doesn't explicitly mention the overall condition, but based on the description, it seems to be in pretty good shape. The seller notes that it starts and runs easily and smoothly, which is always a good sign. They also mention that it runs and drives great, so you can feel confident taking this baby out for a spin. One of the standout features of this Corvair is the fact that it's a convertible. There's just something about cruising down the road with the top down that feels so freeing and exhilarating. The seller mentions that the black soft top is in nice condition, so you can enjoy that open-air driving experience without any worries. Inside, you'll find the original black vinyl interior, which the seller notes is in good condition. It's always great to see a classic car that's been well maintained and cared for over the years. The fact that the interior is still in good shape is a testament to the quality and durability of these old Chevys. Under the hood, you'll find a 6-cylinder engine paired with an automatic transmission. This is a great setup for those who want a classic car that's easy to drive and maintain. The seller mentions that the car starts and runs smoothly, so you can feel confident that the engine is in good working order. Now, I do want to point out one thing about the odometer reading. The seller notes that the car has 102,000 miles on it, which is definitely something to keep in mind. While this is not necessarily a deal breaker, it's important to consider the age and mileage of the car when making a purchase. However, given the overall condition of the car and the fact that it runs and drives well, this mileage may not be a major concern for the right buyer. Overall, this 1966 Chevrolet Corvair seems like a fantastic opportunity to own a piece of classic American automotive history. With its sleek convertible design, well-maintained interior, and smooth-running engine, it's the kind of car that's sure to provide plenty of driving enjoyment for years to come. And at $8,250, it's a price that seems fair for a car of this caliber. Of course, as with any used car purchase, it's always a good idea to go check it out in person and give it a thorough inspection before making a final decision. But based on the information provided in the ad, this Corvair seems like a solid choice for anyone in the market for a classic convertible. 5. We've got a real classic for you, a 1973 Dodge Dart Swinger that's up for sale on Craigslist. This vintage beauty is priced at just $3,500, and while it may need a little TLC, it's definitely a car that's worth considering for any fan of classic American muscle. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Dart. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, which is always a positive sign. However, it's important to note that the seller does mention a few issues that need to be addressed. The original slant six-cylinder engine has started knocking, which likely means it will need to be rebuilt. Additionally, the air conditioning system needs to be recharged with Freon. Despite these issues, there are still plenty of positives to consider with this Dart. The seller mentions that it has a new carpet in the original loop style, as well as new original seat covers. This attention to detail and commitment to maintaining the car's original character is definitely a plus for any classic car enthusiast. The olive green paint color is a classic choice that looks great on this vintage Dodge. The seller also mentions that the car has new tires and that the original wheels have been powder-coated and fitted with beauty rings and caps. These small touches really help to elevate the overall look and feel of the car. Under the hood, you'll find the original automatic transmission, which is a great feature for those who prefer a more laid-back driving experience. The seller also mentions that the car has new power front disc brakes and new rear brakes, which is always a good sign when it comes to safety and reliability. Now, I do want to be upfront and honest about the potential downsides of this car. The engine issues and air conditioning problems are definitely things that will need to be addressed, and they could potentially be costly fixes. It's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection and estimate from a trusted mechanic before making a purchase like this. That being said, for the right buyer, this 1973 Dodge Dart Swinger could be a really fun and rewarding project car. With its classic styling, original features, and potential for customization, it's the kind of car that could be a real head-turner once it's been fully restored. And at just $3,500, it's a relatively affordable entry point into the world of classic car ownership. Of course, it's important to factor in the potential costs of repairs and upgrades. But for someone who's willing to put in the time and effort, this Dart could be a really cool and unique addition to their collection. So what do you think? Is this 1973 Dodge Dart Swinger the classic car project you've been looking for? Head on over to Craigslist and take a closer look for yourself. With a little bit of love and attention, this vintage beauty could be back on the road and turning heads in no time. 6. We've got a real blast from the past for you. A 1984 Plymouth Duster that's been cherished by its original owner since new. This classic beauty is up for sale on Craigslist, and the seller is asking just $3,800 for it. First off, let's talk about the history of this Duster. The seller mentions that they're helping their granddad sell the car, which means it's been in the same family since it first hit the road back in 1984. That's a real testament to the quality and reliability of these classic Plymouths, and it's always great to see a car that's been so well cared for over the years. The seller also notes that the car has always been garage kept and has no rust, which is a huge plus for any classic car. Rust can be a real killer when it comes to these old beauties, so the fact that this Duster has been protected from the elements is definitely a selling point. Under the hood, you'll find a 2.2-liter four-cylinder engine paired with a 5-speed manual transmission. This is a great setup for those who enjoy a more engaging driving experience, and the fact that it's the original powertrain is definitely a plus for any collector or enthusiast. The seller mentions that the car runs and drives well, which is always a good sign. They also note that everything works as it should, which is a testament to the care and maintenance that's gone into this Duster over the years. One of the standout features of this Duster is the rally wheels wrapped in new tires. These wheels give the car a sporty and aggressive look that really sets it apart from other classic cars on the road. And with new tires, you can feel confident that this Duster is ready to hit the road and provide plenty of driving enjoyment. Inside, the seller notes that the interior is in great shape, which is always a plus for any classic car. The fact that the interior has held up so well over the years is a testament to the quality of the materials and the care that's gone into maintaining this duster. As an added bonus, the seller mentions that they have the original build sheet for the car, which is a really cool piece of history to have. This sheet would have been used by the factory workers to ensure that the car was built to the correct specifications, and it's a great piece of documentation to have for any classic car enthusiast. 7. We've got a real gem for you, a 1969 Plymouth Valiant that's been in the same family since new. This classic beauty is up for sale on Craigslist, and the seller is asking just $5,000 for it. But don't let the low price fool you. This Valiant is a true diamond in the rough that's just waiting for the right person to come along and give it the love and attention it deserves. First off, let's talk about the history of this Valiant. The seller mentions that it's been in the same family since new, which is a real testament to the quality and durability of these classic Plymouths. It's always great to see a car that's been cherished and cared for by the same family for so many years. Now, the seller is upfront about the fact that this Valiant is a winter project that they're no longer able to finish due to health issues. But don't let that discourage you. The seller has been collecting parts for quite a while, and they're including a ton of great upgrades and extras with the car. Under the hood, you'll find not one, but two 360 engines to choose from. One is a fresh engine with only 5,000 miles on it, while the other is a core motor out of a '78 Dodge truck. Both engines come with aluminum intake manifolds and AFB carburetors, and the fresh engine even has a mild cam for a little extra power. The seller has also included a bunch of other great upgrades, like an 834 rear end out of a '76 Duster with new springs, brakes and shocks, as well as a V8 K-member out of a Demon with new drum brakes. And if you're a fan of manual transmissions, you'll be happy to know that this Valiant comes with two 4-speed transmissions to choose from, an 833 close ratio and a 4-speed overdrive. Other great features include new Headman headers and exhaust all the way to the back, as well as all good glass and a set of 14-inch steel wheels, with the original 13-inch wheels included as well. Now, the seller does mention that there is some rust in the usual places, like the front floors, window frames, trunk, and top of the firewall. But they've already taken steps to address this by grinding and wire brushing most of the rust and priming it to prevent future rust. It's important to keep in mind that this is a project car, and some rust is to be expected in a vehicle of this age. The interior of the Valiant is all original, including the seats, which is a great starting point for anyone looking to restore this classic to its former glory. 8. We've got an incredible find for you, a 1981 Ford Thunderbird that's in absolutely excellent condition. This classic beauty is up for sale on Craigslist, and the seller is asking $13,500 for it. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That's a lot of money for an old car. But trust me when I say that this T-Bird is worth every penny. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Thunderbird. The seller mentions that it's been dry stored for the past 20 years, which is a huge plus when it comes to classic cars. Dry storage helps to prevent rust, corrosion, and other types of damage that can occur when a car is left exposed to the elements. The fact that this T-Bird has been so well preserved is a real testament to the care and attention that's gone into maintaining it over the years. The seller also notes that this Thunderbird has low original kilometers, which is another huge selling point. It's always great to find a classic car that hasn't been driven into the ground, and the low mileage on this T-Bird suggests that it's been well cared for and hasn't seen a ton of use over the years. Now, let's talk about the features on this Thunderbird. The seller mentions that it's fully loaded for a 1981 model, which means it comes with all sorts of great options and amenities. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 302 engine that's sure to provide plenty of get up and go. And inside, you'll find a factory cassette player, air conditioning, and power windows, all features that were cutting edge back in 1981. The brown paint color on this Thunderbird is a classic choice that really suits the car's vintage style. It's the kind of color that looks great in any light, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. Overall, this 1981 Ford Thunderbird seems like an incredible opportunity to own a piece of classic American automotive history. With its excellent condition, low original kilometers, and fully loaded features, it's the kind of car that's sure to impress anyone who sees it. And while the asking price of $13,500 might seem high at first glance, it's actually a pretty fair price for a car of this caliber. Of course, as with any used car purchase, it's always a good idea to go check it out in person and give it a thorough inspection before making a final decision. But based on the information provided in the ad and the recent pictures, this Thunderbird looks like it's in absolutely fantastic shape. 9. We've got a real treat for you, a 1962 Studebaker Hawk that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic beauty is priced at just $8,500, and let me tell you, it's a car that's sure to turn heads and get people talking. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Hawk. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, which is always a positive sign. They mention that it's a solid car with no rust and good chrome, which is a real testament to the care and attention that's gone into maintaining this classic over the years. Under the hood, you'll find a 350 Chevy motor paired with a TH350 transmission. This is a great setup for those who want a classic car with a bit of modern power and reliability. The seller notes that the car drives, runs, shifts, and stops decently, which suggests that it's been well maintained and is ready to hit the road. The black paint color on this Hawk is a classic choice that really suits the car's vintage style. It's the kind of color that looks great in any light, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. One of the things that really stands out about this Hawk is its potential as a daily driver or a fun cruiser for shows. The seller mentions that it's a daily looker, which suggests that it's a car that you can enjoy driving on a regular basis, while still getting plenty of attention and admiration from other enthusiasts. And with just 78,000 miles on the odometer, this Hawk has plenty of life left in it. Now, it's important to note that the seller does mention that this Hawk could also be an easy restoration project. While the car is in good condition overall, there may be some areas that could benefit from a bit of TLC. But the great thing about a car like this is that you can enjoy driving it as is, while gradually working on any restoration projects over time. Overall, this 1962 Studebaker Hawk seems like a fantastic opportunity to own a piece of classic American automotive history. With its good condition, strong powertrain, and potential as a daily driver or show car, it's the kind of vehicle that's sure to provide plenty of enjoyment and satisfaction for years to come. And at just $8,500, it's a price that seems more than fair for a car of this caliber. 10. We've got a real blast from the past for you, a 1974 Chevrolet Monte Carlo that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic beauty is priced at $10,000, and while that may seem like a lot at first glance, let me tell you why it's worth considering. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Monte Carlo. The seller doesn't explicitly state the overall condition, but they do mention that there's a little surface rust and that the paint is fair. This suggests that the car may not be in perfect condition, but it's also not a complete basket case. The seller also notes that the trunk area is solid and the frame is good, which is a big plus when it comes to classic cars. Under the hood, you'll find a 350 motor paired with an automatic transmission. The seller mentions that the car runs great and shifts well, which is always a good sign. It's clear that this Monte Carlo has been well maintained mechanically, even if the cosmetics may need a bit of work. One of the really cool features of this Monte Carlo is the swivel bucket seats. This was a popular option back in the day, and it's the kind of thing that really sets this car apart from other classics. The seller also mentions that the car has a console shift, which adds to the sporty feel of the interior. Now, it's worth noting that this Monte Carlo does have manual windows, which may be a drawback for some buyers. But for others, the lack of power windows is part of the charm of owning a classic car. It's all about personal preference. The seller mentions that this Monte Carlo would be a great project car for someone looking to do a restoration. And while it may not be in perfect condition, the fact that it runs and drives well is a big plus. It means that you can enjoy the car as is while gradually working on any cosmetic or other issues over time. It's also worth noting that the seller is not interested in trades and is only accepting cash. This is pretty common with classic car sales, as sellers often want to make a clean break and move on to other projects. Overall, this 1974 Chevrolet Monte Carlo seems like a solid choice for anyone in the market for a classic American muscle car. It may not be in perfect condition, but it runs well, has some cool features like the swivel bucket seats, and has plenty of potential as a restoration project. And while the asking price of $10,000 may seem high at first glance, it's actually not too bad for a car of this caliber. 11. We've got an absolute gem for you, a 1978 Ford LTD that's up for sale on Craigslist. This classic beauty is priced at just $8,000, and let me tell you, it's an opportunity that you don't want to miss. First off, let's talk about the condition of this LTD. The seller has listed it as being in excellent condition, and based on the description, it's easy to see why. The car has been freshly painted in a stunning silver color that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. The paint job alone is a big selling point, as it can be expensive and time-consuming to have a classic car repainted. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 351 engine that's ready to roar. The seller doesn't provide any details about the engine's performance or maintenance history, but given the overall condition of the car, it's safe to assume that it's been well cared for over the years. The transmission on this LTD is automatic, which is a great option for those who prefer a more relaxed driving experience. And with just 39,000 miles on the odometer, this car has plenty of life left in it. It's rare to find a classic car with such low mileage, and it's a testament to the care and attention that's gone into maintaining this beauty over the years. The seller also mentions that the car has good tires, which is important for both safety and performance. It's clear that no expense has been spared in keeping this LTD in top condition. One of the things that really sets this LTD apart is its clean title. This means that the car has never been in a major accident or had any significant damage that would affect its value or safety. It's always a good sign when a classic car has a clean title, as it suggests that it's been well maintained and cared for over the years. Overall, this 1978 Ford LTD seems like an incredible opportunity to own a piece of classic American automotive history. With its excellent condition, fresh paint job, low mileage, and clean title, it's the kind of car that's sure to impress anyone who sees it. And at just $8,000, it's a price that seems more than fair for a car of this caliber. Of course, as with any used car purchase, it's always a good idea to go check it out in person and give it a thorough inspection before making a final decision. But based on the information provided in the ad, this LTD looks like it's in absolutely fantastic shape. 12. We've got a real treat for you, a 1976 Ford Granada that's up for sale on Craigslist. This classic coupe is priced at just $6,500, and let me tell you, it's a car that's sure to turn heads and get people talking. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Granada. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, and based on the description, it's easy to see why. The seller mentions that the car is very clean and rust-free, which is a huge plus when it comes to classic cars. Rust can be a real killer for these old beauties, so the fact that this Granada is rust-free is a big selling point. Under the hood, you'll find a 4.1-liter 250 six-cylinder engine that's ready to go. The seller mentions that the carburetor has been rebuilt, which is great news for anyone who wants a car that runs smoothly and efficiently. And with just 41,000 miles on the odometer, this Granada has plenty of life left in it. The transmission on this Granada is automatic, which is a great option for those who prefer a more relaxed driving experience. The seller also mentions that the car has air conditioning, power steering, and power brakes, which are all great features to have in a classic car. One of the things that really sets this Granada apart is its clean Arizona title. This means that the car has been well maintained and has never been in any major accidents or had any significant damage. It's always a good sign when a classic car has a clean title, as it suggests that it's been well cared for over the years. The seller also mentions that they've lost interest in the car, which is why they're selling it. This is actually a good thing for potential buyers, as it means that the seller is motivated to make a deal and may be willing to negotiate on the price. Another great thing about this Granada is that the seller is offering delivery. This is a huge plus for anyone who lives outside of the Phoenix area and wants to buy the car sight unseen. It's always a bit of a gamble to buy a car without seeing it in person, but the fact that the seller is willing to deliver the car suggests that they're confident in its condition and are willing to go the extra mile to make the sale happen. Overall, this 1976 Ford Granada seems like a fantastic opportunity to own a piece of classic American automotive history. With its good condition, rust-free body, low mileage, and clean title, it's the kind of car that's sure to provide plenty of driving enjoyment for years to come. And at just $6,500 or best offer, it's a price that seems more than fair for a car of this caliber. 13. We've got an incredible opportunity for you. A 1976 Cadillac Eldorado convertible that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic beauty is priced at just $10,000, and while it may need some work under the hood, it's still an absolute steal for a car of this caliber. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Eldorado. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, both inside and out. The black paint job is sure to turn heads wherever you go, and the seller mentions that the car has a new convertible top that was replaced about a year ago. This is a big plus, as replacing a convertible top can be a costly and time-consuming process. Now let's talk about the mechanical work that's been done on this Eldorado. The seller mentions that about $12,000 worth of engine work was done just 6 months ago, which is a huge investment in the car's future. However, the seller also notes that the car likely still needs a partial or full engine rebuild to run properly. This is definitely something to keep in mind if you're considering making an offer on this car. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's ready to roar. The seller doesn't provide any details about the engine specs or performance, but given the amount of work that's been done on it recently, it's safe to assume that it's in good shape overall. The transmission on this Eldorado is automatic, which is a great option for those who prefer a more relaxed driving experience. And with front-wheel drive, this car is sure to handle like a dream on the open road. One thing to note about this Eldorado is that the odometer shows just 8,000 miles, but the seller mentions that this is likely not accurate. This is definitely something to keep in mind when considering the car's overall value and condition. Despite the potential need for an engine rebuild, the seller notes that this Eldorado is a great car that they would normally list for about $25,000. The fact that they're asking just $10,000 for it is a testament to their honesty and transparency about the car's condition. Another great thing about this Eldorado is that it comes with a clean title. This means that the car has never been in any major accidents or had any significant damage that would affect its value or safety. It's always a good sign when a classic car has a clean title, as it suggests that it's been well maintained and cared for over the years. 14. We've got a real classic for you, a 1982 Chevrolet El Camino that's up for sale on Craigslist. This iconic American car is priced at just $8,000, and while it may need a little bit of work to bring it back to its full glory, it's still an absolute steal for a car with this much history and style. First off, let's talk about the condition of this El Camino. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, which is always a positive sign. They mention that the car runs great mechanically and is ready to drive, which is a huge plus for anyone looking for a classic car that they can enjoy right away. Now, it's important to note that this El Camino does have a salvage title. This means that at some point in its history, it was likely involved in an accident or sustained significant damage. However, the seller doesn't provide any details about the specific circumstances surrounding the salvage title, so it's definitely something to inquire about if you're seriously interested in the car. With 220,000 miles on the odometer, this El Camino has certainly seen its fair share of the road. However, the seller notes that it's still going strong and has plenty of life left in it. This is a testament to the durability and reliability of these classic Chevrolets. One of the standout features of this El Camino is the stereo system. The seller mentions that it was installed when they first bought the car and includes new speakers and Bluetooth connectivity. While the seller admits that the car isn't cosmetically perfect, They note that the stereo works fine and could be restored to a cool setup with a little bit of work. The black paint job on this El Camino is a classic choice that never goes out of style. It gives the car a powerful and imposing presence on the road, and with a little bit of TLC, it could really shine. Overall, this 1982 Chevrolet El Camino seems like a great opportunity for someone who's looking for a classic car project with a lot of potential. While it may need some cosmetic work and has a salvage title, it runs great mechanically and has a lot of value for the price. As the seller notes, these cars are getting harder and harder to find, especially ones in good mechanical condition. Of course, as with any used car purchase, it's always a good idea to go check it out in person and give it a thorough inspection before making a final decision. But based on the information provided in the ad, this El Camino seems like it's definitely worth considering for anyone who's willing to put in a little bit of work to bring it back to its full potential. 15. We've got a real treat for you. A 1979 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic muscle car is priced at just $9,900, and let me tell you, it's a deal that's hard to beat. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Camaro. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, which is always a positive sign. They mention that the car is very original and has minimal rust, which is a huge plus for any classic car. While the paint does have some patina, this only adds to the car's character and charm. Under the hood, you'll find a built small block engine that's sure to get your heart racing. The seller mentions that the engine has gear drive, cams, and a Mallory ignition system, which all work together to make this Camaro incredibly quick. And with an automatic transmission and a B&M shifter, you'll be able to easily harness all that power and put it to the ground. One thing to note about this Camaro is that the seller has listed the fuel type as diesel. However, based on the description of the engine and the car's overall setup, it seems more likely that this is a typo and the car actually runs on gasoline. It's definitely something to clarify with the seller if you're seriously interested in the car. With 100,000 miles on the odometer, this Camaro has certainly seen its fair share of the road. However, the seller notes that the car has received various upgrades over the years, including new tires, which suggests that it's been well maintained and cared for. Another great thing about this Camaro is that it comes with a clean title. This means that the car has never been in any major accidents or had any significant damage that would affect its value or safety. It's always a good sign when a classic car has a clean title, as it suggests that it's been well cared for over the years. The seller also mentions that this Camaro is a survivor driver, which means that it's a car that's been largely preserved in its original condition but is still fully functional and ready to be driven. This is the best of both worlds for many classic car enthusiasts, as it allows you to enjoy the car's vintage charm while still being able to take it out on the road and have some fun. Overall, this 1979 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 seems like an excellent opportunity for anyone who's looking for a classic muscle car with a lot of power and character. With its built small block engine, original condition, and various upgrades, it's the kind of car that's sure to turn heads and provide plenty of driving enjoyment for years to come. And at just $9,900, it's a price that's hard to beat for a car of this caliber. 16. We've got an absolute gem for you, a 1981 Ford Thunderbird that's been kept in pristine condition for the past 2 decades. This classic beauty is up for sale on Craigslist, and the seller is asking $13,500 or best offer. Trust me when I say that this is a deal you don't want to miss out on. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Thunderbird. The seller has listed it as being in excellent condition, and based on the description and photos, it's easy to see why. This car has been dry stored for the past 20 years, which means it's been protected from the elements and has likely maintained its original beauty and charm. It's rare to find a classic car that's been so well preserved, so this is definitely a selling point. One thing to note is that the seller mentions that this is a 1981 model, even though Craigslist classic ads typically stop at 1980. This just goes to show how special and unique this particular Thunderbird is. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 302 engine that's ready to roar. The seller doesn't provide any details about the engine's performance or maintenance history, but given the overall condition of the car, it's safe to assume that it's been well cared for over the years. The odometer shows 120,000 kilometers, which is relatively low for a car of this age. This suggests that the Thunderbird has been driven sparingly and has been treated with the utmost care and respect. When it comes to features, this Thunderbird is fully loaded for a 1981 model. It's got factory air conditioning to keep you cool on hot summer days, as well as a factory cassette player for all your favorite tunes. The power windows are also a nice touch, adding to the overall convenience and comfort of the car. The brown paint color is a classic choice that really suits the Thunderbird's vintage style. It's the kind of color that looks great in any light and is sure to turn heads wherever you go. One unique feature of this particular Thunderbird is the step sides that were installed by the original owner. While some purists might prefer the car without them, the seller notes that they're easily removable if desired. Personally, I think they add a cool, custom touch to an already impressive car. Overall, this 1981 Ford Thunderbird seems like an incredible opportunity to own a piece of classic American automotive history. With its excellent condition, low mileage, and fully loaded features, it's the kind of car that's sure to impress anyone who sees it. And while the asking price of $13,500 might seem a bit high at first glance, it's actually a fair price for a car of this caliber that's been so well maintained. 17. We've got a real treat for you. A 1965 Ford Galaxy XL that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic beauty is priced at just $11,500, and let me tell you, it's a deal that's hard to beat. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Galaxy. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, and based on the description, it's easy to see why. This car has been stored in a dry garage for an impressive 27 years and has been started and run regularly during that time. That's a real testament to the care and attention that's gone into maintaining this classic over the years. The seller also mentions that the car is driven daily, weather permitting, which suggests that it's not just a garage queen, but a reliable and enjoyable ride. And with a rust-free body that's never been wrecked, you can feel confident that this Galaxy is structurally sound and ready for many more years of driving enjoyment. Under the hood, you'll find a great running 352 Interceptor motor that's sure to provide plenty of power and performance. The seller does mention a small oil leak from the intake manifold, but this is a relatively minor issue that shouldn't deter any serious buyers. And with an automatic transmission that shifts smoothly, you can sit back and enjoy the ride without any fuss. Inside, the interior of this Galaxy is in great condition, including the carpet. The seller mentions that the radio works but needs a speaker, which they may order a new one for. This attention to detail and willingness to make small improvements is a great sign that the seller takes pride in this car and wants to ensure that it's in the best possible condition for its next owner. One unique feature of this particular Galaxy is the option to purchase it with either the current wheels or the original wheels and hubcaps. The seller notes that the original wheels are in great shape and will sell the car for $500 less with them. This is a great option for anyone who wants to maintain the car's original look and feel. The white paint color is a classic choice that really suits the Galaxy's vintage style. It's the kind of color that looks great in any light and is sure to turn heads wherever you go. Overall, this 1965 Ford Galaxy XL seems like an excellent opportunity to own a piece of classic American automotive history. With its good condition, rust-free body, and strong running engine, it's the kind of car that's sure to provide plenty of driving enjoyment for years to come. And while the asking price of $11,500 might seem a bit high at first glance, it's actually a fair price for a car of this caliber that's been so well maintained. 18. We've got a real gem for you. A 1971 Mercury Cougar convertible that's up for sale on Craigslist. This classic beauty is priced at $14,500, and let me tell you, it's a car that's sure to turn heads and get people talking. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Cougar. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, which is always a positive sign. While the seller doesn't provide a ton of details about the car's overall condition, The fact that they've listed it as good suggests that it's been well maintained and cared for over the years. One of the first things that caught my eye about this Cougar is the stunning orange paint color. This bold and vibrant hue is the perfect choice for a classic convertible like this, and it's sure to make a statement wherever you go. Whether you're cruising down the highway with the top down or showing off at a local car meet, this Cougar is guaranteed to be the center of attention. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's ready to roar. While the seller doesn't provide any specific details about the engine's performance or maintenance history, the fact that it's a V8 suggests that it's got plenty of power and torque to spare. And with rear-wheel drive, you can expect a thrilling and engaging driving experience every time you get behind the wheel. The odometer shows just 80,000 miles, which is relatively low for a car of this age. This suggests that the Cougar has been driven sparingly over the years and has been treated with the care and respect it deserves. Of course, as with any classic car, it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection and review the vehicle's history before making a purchase. Another great thing about this Cougar is that it comes with a clean title. This means that the car has never been in any major accidents or had any significant damage that would affect its value or safety. It's always a good sign when a classic car has a clean title, as it suggests that it's been well cared for and maintained over the years. Overall, though, this 1971 Mercury Cougar convertible seems like an excellent opportunity to own a piece of classic American automotive history. With its stunning orange paint, powerful V8 engine, and low mileage, it's the kind of car that's sure to provide plenty of driving enjoyment and turn heads wherever you go. And while the asking price of $14,500 might seem a bit steep at first glance, it's actually not too bad for a well-maintained classic convertible like this. 19. We've got a real blast from the past for you, a 1975 Ford Thunderbird that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic beauty is priced at just $6,450, and let me tell you, it's a deal that's hard to beat for a car with this much history and style. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Thunderbird. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, which is always a positive sign. They mention that the car is all original and unrestored, with a driver quality that's perfect for anyone who wants to enjoy a classic car without the pressure of maintaining a show-ready vehicle. Under the hood, you'll find a massive 460 V8 engine with a 4-barrel carburetor and automatic transmission. This powerhouse of an engine is sure to provide plenty of get up and go, and with just 88,641 original miles on the odometer, it's clear that this Thunderbird has been well maintained and cared for over the years. One of the things that really sets this Thunderbird apart is its history. The seller mentions that the car was recently revived from a 20-year storage period and was acquired from the original owner's estate. This means that you're not just getting a classic car, but a piece of automotive history with a story to tell. The seller also notes that this Thunderbird has minimal rust, which is a huge plus for any classic car. While there are a few chips on the grille fascia and passenger door, as well as some minor surface rust on the front fenders, the overall body is in very good condition. The rear quarters, floors, frame, and trunk are all described as very solid, which is a testament to the car's Colorado origins and careful storage over the years. Inside, the seller mentions that the interior is nice, which suggests that it's been well maintained and cared for. The car even comes with a working 8-track player, which is a really cool period-correct feature that adds to the overall vintage vibe. In terms of maintenance and upgrades, the seller has recently replaced a number of key components, including the carburetor, fuel filter, water pump, radiator, coolant hoses, power steering hoses, and valve cover gaskets. This shows that the car has been properly cared for and is ready to hit the road with its new owner. Overall, this 1975 Ford Thunderbird seems like an excellent opportunity to own a piece of automotive history at a very reasonable price. With its powerful V8 engine, minimal rust, and well-maintained interior, it's the kind of car that's sure to provide plenty of driving enjoyment and turn heads wherever you go. And at just $6,450, it's a price that's hard to beat for a classic car in this condition. 20. We've got a real classic for you, a 1978 Chrysler New Yorker that's up for sale on Craigslist. This vintage beauty is priced at just $2,500, and while it may need a little bit of work, it's definitely a car that's worth considering for anyone who loves classic American luxury. First off, let's talk about the condition of this New Yorker. The seller has listed it as being in fair condition, which is a pretty honest assessment. They mention that the body is solid, which is always a good sign for a car of this age. However, they do note that the roof is a bit iffy and might need some attention. It's not clear exactly what the issue is with the roof, but the seller suggests that it might be fixable. Under the hood, you'll find a Ford 40 engine, which is a real selling point for this car. The seller notes that 1978 was the last year that this massive engine was available in Chrysler cars, which makes this New Yorker a bit of a rarity. And while the seller doesn't provide any specific details about the engine's performance or maintenance history, they do mention that the car runs and drives fine. The odometer shows just 7,500 miles, which is relatively low for a car of this age. This suggests that the New Yorker has been driven sparingly over the years and may have been well maintained by its previous owners. Inside, the seller mentions that the interior is nice, which is always a plus for a classic car. They don't provide any specific details about the condition of the seats, dashboard, or other interior components, but the fact that they describe it as nice suggests that it's in good shape overall. The silver paint color is a classic choice for a car like this, and it's likely to look great with a little bit of polishing and TLC. Of course, as with any classic car, there may be some imperfections or signs of age, but that's all part of the charm. One thing to note about this New Yorker is that it currently has a non-op title, which means that it's not currently registered or legal to drive on public roads. The seller does mention that the title is clean, which is a good sign, but potential buyers will need to look into the process and cost of getting the car registered and insured before they can hit the road. Overall, this 1978 Chrysler New Yorker seems like a solid choice for anyone who's looking for a classic American luxury car with a bit of a project. While it may need some work, particularly on the roof, the solid body, nice interior, and rare 440 engine make it a car that's definitely worth considering. And at just $2,500, it's a price that's hard to beat for a vintage ride with this much character.